Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Nagel versus Goulet, step forward, please.
20-year-old salesperson Michael Nagel is suing his ex-roommate, 18-year-old model Jessica Goulet, for unpaid rent and bills. Jessica is countersuing, claiming Michael sold her stereo and pet bird.
The defendant was a roommate of yours, and it is your claim that she moved out owing you for some rent and bills.
Correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Goulet says that she owes you nothing. As a matter of fact, she says that you have retained her property and sold some of her property, according to her, and that you actually owe her money.
Yes.
Is there a rest of that outfit that you're wearing? When you go to a court, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to cover your belly button. Do you understand?
I do understand that.
Good. But?
I was just going to say that I only have a very limited amount of clothing because all of my other property is at his place.
Well, would you like to borrow her shirt? That would have been more appropriate. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have to know where you're going. You wouldn't go to church in that outfit, would you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you know enough to do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Good. Now, when did she become your roommate and under what circumstances?
October 28th, 2003, Your Honor. The circumstances were, I've known her brother for close to 9 years now. We moved in together. However, his job made him move. So under his advice, I took in his sister and her boyfriend as my new roommates because without that, I would have to cover the rent and bills all by myself.
Okay. They were each going to pay how much? A third of the rent each?
They each were going to pay $225 a month for rent, Your Honor.
And how much was your rent?
$525, Your Honor.
And they did move in on the 28th of October?
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened in November? Did they pay rent?
Yes.
December?
Yes.
January?
No.
What happened in January?
Her check bounced, Your Honor, and I had to cover that, and I've only been reimbursed $150 from that check.
Why did your check bounce in January?
My parents had just moved, and I was taking care of everything on my own. I had just gotten a car and things like that, and I thought I had the money. If I wrote the check, I would be able to put it in the bank and it would clear, but it just...
So she owed you $75 from January?
$113 from January, Your Honor.
Why?
Due to the fact that there was a late fee on this.
I got you. Okay, so that's January. And what happened in February?
I had come back from Nashville, Tennessee on February 3rd, and I had asked her about rent because it was due. I had talked to the landlord, and he had given me an extension to turn it in on the 3rd. So I asked her about rent, and she flatly said, you know, I don't have it. So Is that
right?
Yeah, I told him that I didn't have it, that I would get it to him as soon as I could.
And she didn't, Your Honor.
When did you move out?
I actually moved out. He had kicked my boyfriend out, say January 16th, around that time, and there was a big discussion about that.
Why did you put her boyfriend out?
Because he didn't pay bills, Your Honor.
I didn't agree with it because he wasn't going to give him any time. My boyfriend agreed to give him $600 on that Monday, but he told him no.
Why didn't he pay him when he was supposed to?
Because he wasn't going to get the money until that Monday. He couldn't get the money till then.
Your Honor.
Because of his work.
So the two of you expected him to cover your bills until you could get your acts together.
He told us that he had an extension on all of that and it was okay. When my boyfriend offered to give him the $600, he said that if he gave him the $600 that he could stay there, no problem. And then he called my brother and my brother told him no, that just kick him out now, don't even take the money. So he just packed up his stuff.
What was the $600 for?
The electricity bill, the phone bill, and the cable bill. He had ran up a large amount on my cable bill by ordering adult entertainment on there, as well as movies. And I have proof of that in my records, Your Honor.
I believe you. Listen, if they had paid their bills, I assume you wouldn't have minded if they stayed.
Right.
Right? Okay, so she owes you for February's rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
You didn't pay February's rent, did you?
I moved out before February 1st.
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
No, you just told me you were there.
I actually was staying there, but during the day I was with my boyfriend. And when I came back to get clothes and stuff like that, because I was staying the night with him, he was like, your check bounced, I need the rent, and you have to get out. You either pay me or you get out. So I told him that I would leave, that I would try to go get the money. When I came back, he said, you can only take your clothing because I didn't want to stay there anymore because when he gets pissed off...
You see, Your Honor, I gave her a chance to get her clothing and she refused.
I refused to get my clothes?
Yeah,
that's all I have is my clothes. You have everything else.
Don't
you have
fight with
everything
this.
else
Sorry,
of
Your
my
Honor.
belongings.
Miss Goulet, first fix your shirt. Very good. Don't fight with each other. You want to fight with each other, you go outside. You don't
sorry,
come
Your Honor.
inside.
Sorry.
Okay, $338, $113 for January that's still due and owing. $225 for February, because you lived there most of the month. If you left to follow your boyfriend, that's your problem. Grow up! You gotta grow up! Now, let's talk about her property. You still have her property?
Yes, Your Honor.
What about her bird? She says that you sold her bird.
She left it there, Your Honor. That was her brother. Her brother decided to sell it, not me.
Step up. Tell me your name.
My name's James.
Did you come into possession of her bird?
Yes.
When?
After she left, I had started staying there to help Mike out with his bills and stuff like that, and I sold her bird as well as her stereo. And then she's also countersinging.
Why did you do that?
Well, just, you know, come up with some extra money to help him out.
And also, Your Honor, she had been gone for over a month by that time. She had not called or come by to get her stuff. Therefore, I had no room and nowhere to keep the stuff.
You don't have to take care of a bird. Well, you want the money for your bird back?
The money for my bird was $500, bird and cage, and plus my stereo was $150.
Your brother sold it.
I know,
You're
but
suing the wrong person. Now, as far as your clothes and other property is concerned, you still have them?
Yeah, she can.
When could she pick them up?
She pick it up right after court, Your Honor.
Terrific.
Okay. Now, also, Your Honor, we had a lease agreement when her and her boyfriend moved in that if they did violate the lease, they would be responsible to pay their half of the rent until March.
Where? Show me. They signed it?
Yes, Your Honor, and it's dated also.
Are you still living there?
I actually moved into a different apartment in the same building, Your Honor.
When?
April of this year, Your Honor.
But, Honor, all I'd like to say is I've tried countless times to call him and get a hold of them. My witness has tried calling them. I have tried calling
For what?
them to get a hold of them. So I was going to offer him $500 to pay off the bills so I can get my stuff back. But
He's giving you your stuff back.
I know, but I was going to do this before we even had to go to court. I didn't want it to go this far.
I have a question, though. If she wants her stuff back and was offering me $500, why is she suing me for $5,000?
Because
she's not going to get 5,000 yen. Do you understand? You're just going to give her back her stuff. And please give her back all of her shirts.
Yes, Your Honor.
I wanted to have a nice long shirt.
And pants.
Did they give you any deposit when they moved in?
Yes, Your Honor, they did.
How much of a deposit did they give you?
They gave me $250 together. $250 had to go towards some of the bills.
You got a lot of bills. So far, she owes you for January and February's rent.
Correct, Your Honor.
You know, this is not windfall day for you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $338, and 5 days from today, she will pick up all of her stuff. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step up. Your Honor, this is case number 86 on the calendar in the matter of Balzolari versus Martel. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks have seats.
Mr. Balzolari, you and the defendant were engaged to be married and lived together.
That's correct.
Unfortunately, you were incarcerated for a period of time in a drug-related charge and then went into rehab. And it is your claim that during that period of time, Miss Martel cleaned you out, took your property, took your money, broke up, and she won't return a very expensive engagement ring as well. Miss Martel said all of that money was used to pay your bills, to pay for things for you while you were incarcerated, and she had to sell the engagement ring in order to pay those bills. Right?
Right.
Okay. When did you become engaged?
Your Honor, that was approximately 4/20. I'd purchased the ring. Here's a picture and a receipt. It was shortly after that we became engaged. And,
April 20th.
Yeah, somewhere around that time.
Of what year?
02.
When was the wedding supposed to take place?
There was no
Mr.
date
Morse?
set.
What were you waiting for?
I don't know. For us both to agree on a certain date and, you know.
Okay. So you became engaged in April of 2002 and you were living together.
Yes.
When were you incarcerated?
It wasn't a drug. I'd like to correct that, Your Honor. That wasn't a drug-related charge. It was a felony charge. It was an impersonation charge is what that was. It wasn't a drug. I agreed to go into a drug court system.
Explain that to me, sir. You were convicted of what?
Criminal impersonation of a police officer. It was a felony charge, which at that time I was volunteered in a drug court in Rochester, New York.
Well, what did criminal impersonation have to do with drugs, sir? Why would you be placed in a drug court? I'll get to you in a second.
I was
If you can't give me the answer, because I'm going to get to the answer. If you can't give me the answer, I'll allow you to help me.
Okay, thank you.
All right?
Before I had that charge, Your Honor, I was in a voluntary drug outpatient program.
Okay.
And during that time when the judge seen that, at that time I picked up the charge, she says, well, if you continue to stay sober and clean and continue your drug treatment program, we will dismiss the charge. And I failed to stay clean. So he incarcerated me and asked me if I wanted to do the time or do I want to help myself and change.
Mr. Borzelli, is what you're telling me, sir, that you pled guilty to criminal impersonation as a felony? The judge allowed you to remain at liberty as long as you were in a drug rehab program and remain drug-free. Is that what you're telling me?
No, there was no plea. My choice
Can
was...
I see those papers, please?
This was my whereabouts. The judge says, if you stay clean, we'll drop the charges and we're going to put you in drug court. Simple. If you stay clean for a year, we drop your charges. Conditional discharge.
Now I'll hear you, because this doesn't sound all right to me.
Exactly. We were friends. This is before we started dating. He was caught downtown in a well-known drug hotel impersonating a police officer. They forced him to go into drug court. It wasn't voluntary for him.
And then I assume that as part of this agreement that you had with the judge, you tested positive for drugs at some point?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you went into jail. And you went into jail, according to this, on the 12th of January 2004 to the 20th of February 2004.
Correct.
So for a little more than 6 weeks.
Correct.
Okay. And is it during that time that you claim that Miss Martell cleaned you out?
Oh, yes.
Okay. During that 6-week period?
No, not entirely.
Well, when?
Well, cleaning out, I don't know where the cleaning out comes from, but I have a telephone bill. When she moved in, Your Honor, she was 6 months behind in her mortgage. She says, I want to get away from my ex-husband.
When are you talking about? What year?
02, when she moved in.
I'm not interested in 02. Pay careful attention to me.
What are you interested in?
1/12/04 until 2/20/04.
Okay.
Period.
Here's a bill. She agreed to pay my phone bill, never did.
Mr. Borzelli?
Yes.
Get to it, sir.
Get to it?
Yes. I'm not
Phone
interested
bill,
in phone bill.
cable bill she didn't pay. Here's the pictures I have from my house.
I'm not interested in whether she didn't pay bills for 6 weeks, sir.
Okay, so what are you interested in?
Well,
I have a bill here, Your Honor.
It was my
home that I paid somebody.
Speaking, sir.
Go ahead.
You're asking me, and I'm telling you. It
Okay.
was my impression, sir, that what you were suing her for were two things: personal property and reimbursement of money taken without authorization is what
Okay.
you're suing for, plus the return or value of the engagement ring.
Okay, thank you. Right here, Your Honor, is a receipt from a $2,180 check. Mr. Grimes here, my witness, has cashed it, gave her $2,180. She only paid a mortgage payment of $960, and that's all. I have missing money.
So is what you're telling me that she cashed a check for $2,000 and
Yes,
that
ma'am.
was your money?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And that she didn't pay sufficient amount of bills to cover that $2,100?
Yes.
Okay. She paid $900 in a mortgage. She did pay that
Yes, she
for that
did.
period
Almost
of time.
$1,000.
Here's the receipt, ma'am. It's
How much is the
$900.
mortgage?
It was
The
almost
mortgage-
$1,000.
Excuse me.
Shh.
I have a receipt.
Just tell me how much it was.
$979.
Okay, so that's
For the
close to
mortgage.
$1,000. So that's
Thank you.
$979
Yes.
out of $979 out of the $2,100 that she cashed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else did you pay for out of that money?
$600 of Rochester Gas and Electric.
Your Honor, I have a receipt here for $1,000. She didn't pay squat. Or nothing, I should say.
Mr. Borzelli, put down your paper, sir. Okay. Where's the other $600?
$200 from, this is what I wanted to say before, in December of 2002, he was incarcerated for a positive drug test. He went to jail for a week. I had $200 for that week of collect calls. When he went to jail the next time...
I'm not interested in 2002. What else?
Commissary money I brought to the jail.
How much?
I believe $80.
Okay, little bits of money. Let's talk about the engagement ring. Gave you an engagement ring. Clearly, it is an engagement ring. It's a
Yes.
solitaire. Where is it?
I sold it.
Did you?
Yes.
When? Look at me.
February.
Don't look in the air.
February of this year.
Show me. Show me.
I don't have a
You sell a
receipt.
$14,000 ring. You have a receipt. You have something.
I sold it to a family jeweler.
I don't believe you. You're lying to me. Because if you sold it to a family jeweler and you knew you were coming to court, you would have said to the jeweler, can I have a receipt for the ring that I sold?
I could have, yes.
Well, where did you think you were coming today? To a tea dance?
No.
You were coming to court.
Right.
Court takes evidence. You're full of baloney.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What?
She was responsible enough to sell it to her family jeweler.
I don't believe her, and I don't believe you.
And later today,
John grabbed his dog, Buddha, kind of just pulled him back a little bit and then pushed him off. As soon as he pushed him off, he ran directly to Emily. The very next thing I know, she's screaming.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Robert Borzelli says ex-fiancée Stephanie Martell owes for the return of money and an engagement ring. Stephanie claims she sold the ring to pay bills while Robert was locked up.
Okay, it wasn't your ring. Now, even if you sold it, you had no right to sell it. It was your ring only if the contract to get married to Mr. Borzelli was consummated. It was not. The ring is given as a gift in contemplation of a marriage. Your argument is that you had to sell the ring to pay off bills. What bills did you have to pay off? What?
To maintain, he asked me to stay in his house and to maintain his house.
6 weeks. What bills did you have to pay in 6 weeks that he did not cover with the $2,100 that you took out of his account?
I had to come up with money to move out of the house.
That's your problem. Are you over 18?
Yes.
Deal with it. That's your problem. That's not his problem. What?
I was just going to say that first and foremost...
Say something by standing up.
Sure.
What?
First and foremost, she was responsible enough to do what she had to do to take the engagement ring and sell it to her family jeweler.
I don't believe her, and I don't believe you. She did not sell this ring to a family jeweler, because if she did, the jeweler is responsible by law to give her a receipt. Do you understand?
I do understand.
And this wasn't a little ring for $300. This was a solitaire, which she paid over $14,000 for. And if you expect me to believe that she sold that ring in February to pay bills for him, which is what she alleges in his answer, I don't buy it.
That's
judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000, which is the maximum that I can award to you, sir. I want you to listen to me very carefully. You can put everything else away. I'm not interested at all about any other money she owes you, because the ring covers it. Do you understand? Clearly. I assume that you sued her in small claims court because it's the only way that you thought you'd get any money at all, and you wouldn't have to hire a lawyer to sue her civilly anyplace else. You are entitled to that ring back, because an engagement ring is not an absolute gift until the marriage is fulfilled, and it was never fulfilled, right?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff. Out.
Parties are excused.
It's wrong on his part. The reason we didn't get married was his actions.
I gotta hand it to Miss Martell. She's very consistent. Every time her lips move, there's a lie.
I didn't want to be with him anymore, and he was upset by that.
You've heard of the deal saying a good pet's gone bad? Well,
he was threatening me because I wanted to move out for a while for him to straighten up.
I'm threatening you. I'm 140 pounds, 5'4".
Ooh. And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pritchard versus Butler. Step forward, please.
Legal assistant Tanya Pritchard is suing her former friend, roofer John Butler, for medical bills. Tanya says John's pit bull bit her 5-year-old daughter in the face.
Mrs. Pritchard, this is your little girl, I assume. Is that right? Her name is?
Emily May Lowry.
And Emily was bitten by a dog that is owned by Mr. Butler. And she was bitten on the lip.
Correct.
She had some surgery.
Yes.
She's going to need probably some more.
Yes.
And you are suing him for $4,000 for both her prior care and the care that she will probably need in the future, as well as some pain and suffering.
Correct.
And Mr. Butler says that it was Emily's fault and your fault. Correct, sir?
Correct.
Ah. When was your daughter bitten?
Where or when?
When?
When? September 6, 2003.
Next question is where?
We were at a company picnic potluck.
What does that mean?
It was a gathering with the company my fiance works for. So we were at a company potluck picnic. Everybody brings some stuff, and we just all get together. And
how many people were there?
At the beginning, probably around 100.
Did there come a time where there were more or less people than the 100?
Yes. After the softball game, about 3/4 of the people left.
What time did this incident happen where Mr. Butler's dog bit your daughter?
About 15 minutes before 8.
Had Mr. Butler been there the entire day?
He had been there during the picnic and the potluck, and then after the picnic and potluck and softball game, he left.
Where did you go, sir?
I went to go get my dogs.
Why did you leave to go and get your dogs?
I figured it'd be a good idea for them to run around in the field so I could throw the frisbee for them.
So you got them to play?
Right.
Had you been drinking that day, sir?
I've had a few beers.
A few is more than 2?
2 beers.
Well, was it 2 or more than 2?
A couple, 2.
A couple, 2. And when you left to pick up your dogs and you brought them back, did you bring them back on leashes or not?
Not on leashes at all.
Why not?
I don't ever put leashes on my dogs.
Well, when your dogs are around other people, isn't it usually a wise idea to keep them on leashes, sir?
I've never had a problem before.
How long have you had these dogs?
I've had Buddha for 2 years.
Buddha?
Buddha.
Is that the dog that bit Emily?
Yes, ma'am.
And how old is Buddha?
3.5.
So that he was 1.5 years old when you got him?
Yes, ma'am.
Now tell me about when your daughter was bitten by Buddha.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Here's my question for you, genius. If you know your dog is skittish around children, how dare you bring an unleashed dog to a picnic where there are children?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tanya Pritchard says former friend John Butler owes for her daughter's medical bills. Tanya says John's pit bull bit her in the face.
Go ahead.
Okay, John came back with the dogs, let them loose. They were running around. The people who stayed decided to play horseshoes, so we all moved to the horseshoe pit area. The children that were there were playing right behind our chairs, and our chairs were facing the horseshoe pit so that we could see what was going on. Buddha was actually in the way of the horseshoe game that was trying to get underway, and he kept running in front of everybody that was trying to throw the horseshoes. So everybody was telling John to get the dogs out of the way. John grabbed his dog, Buddha, kind of just pulled him back a little bit and told him to stay out of the way, and then pushed him off. As soon as he pushed him off and let go, he ran directly to Emily. The very next thing I know, she's screaming. As soon as he let go and said, "Go away," the dog ran and jumped up and bit her.
And bit her on the face?
Yes.
Describe that moment.
I actually have pictures of it.
I'd like to see the photographs.
The bite, we were told by the surgeon that there was only 1 millimeter of skin hanging.
Can I see it? Don't tell me what the surgeon said. That's hearsay. Emily, could you come up here so I could take a look at your lips, sweetheart? Come on. You're a very pretty little girl. Is that where the dog bit you? Did it hurt? Very pretty. Do you know my name? Do you know what my job is? No? Do you know who your dad is? Would you like to go and sit down next to him? Go ahead. Go and sit down. Okay. All right, well, this is a pretty nasty bite. How many stitches did she have?
It took 15 stitches. 10 of them were on the inside, and then 5 of them were on the outside.
What do you have there?
I have an estimate from the plastic surgeon of how much the dermabrasion is going to cost.
Okay.
The dermabrasion is where they just grind it down a little bit to get rid of those bumps.
Okay. Okay. And Mr. Butler, were you present when Buddha bit Emily?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me first your version of how that happened, sir.
Everybody's playing horseshoes, and I was talking to a fellow co-worker, and he was falling down on me. He was intoxicated. And people were playing horseshoes, and I was waiting my turn to play the horseshoes. And all the little kids were playing Frisbee and throwing the ball behind all the adults. I think there's like 2 to 3 dogs out there, I think. I don't know. And I just heard a little scream, and everybody was freaking out, and then I found out that one of the dogs had bit the little girl. So I grabbed both my dogs, and I put them in the truck. And then I went and grabbed some ice for the little girl.
You knew it was your dog?
Well, I brought 2 dogs.
You didn't know which of your 2 dogs had done it?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of dog is Buddha?
He's Pit Bull and Boston Terrier.
How much does he weigh?
25 pounds.
Now, I read your answer very carefully, and your answer said that you believe it was Emily's fault.
Right.
I'd like you to tell me why you believe, sir, it's Emily's fault.
Well, the dog had been abused as a puppy, so it was kind of skittish around kids. So what I think happened was she had a stick or something in her hand and was most likely trying to get the dog's attention so that the dog would chase the stick that she was trying to throw for it. So she was probably hitting the dog and screaming it, and the dog freaked out and bit her.
Okay, so let's go back to that. When you got the dog was a year old.
Right.
Year and a half old. And the person from whom you purchased the dog or from whom you got the dog had told you that the dog had been abused as a puppy.
Right.
By children?
By a child, yes.
By a child. Is that the reason that they were getting rid of the dog?
That was the reason why.
So you knew that the dog was skittish around kids?
I'd never seen it, but that's what they have told me.
Then here's my question for you, genius. If you know your dog is skittish around children, how dare you bring an unleashed dog to a picnic where there are children?
I didn't think anything like this would happen.
You didn't think, which means you didn't use your brain. Is that right?
That's right.
So then, why don't you just say, it's my fault and I'm responsible?
It's not.
No, whose fault is it? It's Emily's fault. Emily had prior knowledge that your dog was skittish around children. This 5-year-old had that information? Take your hands out of your pockets. I just asked you a question.
No, the child did not know, but the parent...
But you knew.
I knew.
Right. You knew. So what you're supposed to do is keep a dog like that within your control at all times. Not bring a dog who's been abused by children and skittish around children to a picnic. Because that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. You know, ordinarily, I may not even think that punitive damages are appropriate, but your stupidity is absolutely worth punitive damages. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,000. That's all.
Parties are excused in the matter of Saturday versus Colvin. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Who's this?
This is my mother.
Who's this?
This is my mom.
Do you work?
I just graduated college.
And you?
I have my own business.
What kind of business?
It's a secondhand store that sells home interiors and clothing.
Okay. How long have you been in that business?
Just 4 months.
And what kind of work does your mother do?
My mother's retired.
From what?
The electric company.
You think your mother ever had a fist fight with anybody?
Yes, I do.
You do? You think your mother ever had a fist fight with anybody?
She has not.
Right?
Right, it's not.
Ridiculous, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Did you ever have a fist fight with anybody?
Yes, I have.
Really?
Yes.
How many times?
One time, someone came to my house to fight me.
How long ago?
25 years ago.
Okay. One time. I don't understand girls having fights.
My mother had a fist fight.
Sorry, Bert, I don't care. Yeah, I'm sure your mother's a nice lady. I don't understand. I don't understand ladies having fists. I don't understand men having fist fights, but you know, they're men, so you sort of understand it. But I don't understand women.
Yes, having fights.
Nurturers. Caregivers.
Yes.
Pulling hair, scratching eyes, using their... I don't understand that. You agree?
Yes, I agree.
So, it is your claim that the defendant had you falsely arrested twice for various acts, and the second time was for violating a protective order that she had against you. The defendant has a cross-complaint. The defendant's cross-complaint is that you assaulted her and caused her to lose a contact lens, so you both want lots of money from the other for emotional distress and this loss of your freedom and the filing of false charges against you. Those charges were subsequently dismissed after a trial.
Yes.
Okay. How do you know each other?
I met Taquana through a mutual friend.
What started the problem between the two of you?
Taquana is just a bad person. I was around her only for about 2 months, and the type of person she is just, she's a bad person. She does bad things. She's very argumentative.
So you didn't like her?
Yeah, and I decided I didn't want to be around her. And while she was still friends with the friend that we met through, I even told Taquana, like, well, since you're around her and I'm around her, we're going to get along, just like that. And the last time I had seen Taquana was probably like the beginning of June of 2003, and didn't see her again to September 9th, September 10th at a nightclub. And I seen her with her cousin. I went up to her cousin, because Taquana and her cousin, they just started being back friends.
Listen to me.
Okay.
I have other cases to do.
Okay, okay.
Let's get to it.
Okay, well, I said something to Taquana's cousin, and evidently her cousin said something to her.
So you said something negative
I
about
really didn't say. I'll tell you what I said. When I was seeing her cousin, I went to her, I gave her a hug, and I told her, I was like, if you need a friend to hang around, I will hang around you. You do not have to hang with Taquana. Taquana is a bad person.
So you said negative things about her?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. On September 10th, the night that I seen her, Taquana called like 3:40 in the morning, left me this crazy, terrible message telling me that she's going to handle me, she's going to come to my house, she's going to see me, this and that, and she's going to call me early in the morning. At 8:40 in the morning, she also called me and told me that she's going to come over my house and handle me. And I have the recording right here if you would like to hear it. Brace yourself.
Saved message.
Okay, just stop. Stop the tape. Make it lower, Bird, so that, because it probably is distorting the sound, so that I can hear it. I got the gist of it. Why would you call her and leave that kind of a message?
Because Sandy had been slandering my name to relatives as well as,
What had she been saying about you that you heard?
She had been saying that I give oral sex, I will steal your man, I will steal your money, I'm a bad person, just all types of things about my character that were false.
So
I was...
You think that a message like that says that you're a good person?
No, it doesn't.
You think it says that you are a genteel person?
I think that that type of message would just lead somebody to believe that I was highly upset.
Well, we're going to get her, because that's what you said.
Yes,
in the message. That's what you said in the
I didn't
message.
say that I was going to get her.
Well, pretty much.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was choking me, said, I'm going to choke the out of you. I'm going to kill you. I punched Sandy back a few times or so, trying to keep her off me. It was just basically hitting on me.
Fight.
Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.